The movie begins with Hyun Jae, an 18-year-old Korean-American girl who lives in New Mexico. Jae's parents own a small shop in town, and the three of them work there to provide for their family. One day, Jae steps outside the store to throw some trash. Then she takes out a pack of cigarettes hidden behind the trash can and begins to smoke. Jae's friend also joins her to smoke outside, and the friend invites her to a night out later that evening. Suddenly, Jae's father comes outside, so she throws her cigarette away. However, her father asks her to light him a cigarette and then proceeds to warn her about how her mother shouldn't find out that she smokes because she's too young for it. Then he gives her a beautiful ring that Hyun Jae's parents have been saving for her, and she's very happy to wear it. A few moments later, Jae goes back inside and tells her mother that she'll be working late at the shop tonight with her father and will be staying back to study with her friend. Her mother doesn't believe her at first, but after Jae's great convincing tactics, her mother grants her permission and tells her to take care of herself. Later that evening, Jae closes the shop and gets ready with her friend. The two of them go to a nightclub and share a drink. While they're at the bar, a man in a firefighter suit has his eyes fixed on Jae. The unknown man sends a drink over for Jae and then comes to talk to her. Seeing how Jae and the man are attracted to each other, her friend leaves her alone and tells her that he's smart enough to take care of her for the rest of the night. The firefighter man proceeds to flirt with Jae for the rest of the night and even says that she looks too young to be 18 because she still has braces on. While Jae is enjoying his company, he suddenly gets up and uses the phone booth to call somebody. When he returns, he offers to drop her back home, and the two of them get into his car together. The man drives to a nearby petrol station to get some fuel, but Jae starts getting suspicious when he steps out of the car and starts talking to some men in the car behind them. Jae looks around in the car and notices that his badge is fake. Realizing that she's in great trouble, she tries to get out of the car and runs away. But before she can escape, the men capture her and throw her in the trunk of another car. The next morning, we see a local sheriff named Bob, who receives a phone call from the deputy about the murder of a young woman. When Bob gets to the location, he starts asking the deputies whether they saw anyone else here at the scene of the crime. Both of them deny seeing anyone else there, and Bob suddenly takes out his gun and shoots them dead. It turns out that Bob is part of a huge sex trafficking ring, and the one whose body was found was one of their trafficked girls. Since Bob doesn't want anyone to investigate this case further, he's forced to murder the two deputies who found her body. In the next scene, Jae gains consciousness and finds herself in the back of a truck. She sees two more abducted girls in the truck with her and notices that one of them is bleeding. A man suddenly opens the back of the truck and steps inside. Before Jae can say or do anything, the man starts brutally beating the three girls, knocking them unconscious once again. When Jae opens her eyes again, she finds herself in a hospital facility. A doctor enters the room and forcefully removes her braces. Then she's taken to the bathroom and forcefully given a shower. It turns out that Jae is in an isolated warehouse where hundreds of other abducted girls are also present. Bob, the corrupt law enforcement official, comes to the warehouse with a huge box containing kittens for the girls to help them pass the time. Then Bob goes to Jae's room and tells her that she has 2 days to mourn and cry before she's sent off to work like the rest of the girls. He tells her that if she doesn't cooperate, then he has enough information about her parents to go and kill them in cold blood. Before leaving, Bob tells Vaughn, the facility manager, to keep a close eye on her. Vaughn reassures him by saying that the new girl will quickly get acquainted with the profession and this new life like everyone else. At the warehouse, all the girls are forcibly bathed twice a day and endure pregnancy tests every time. The doctor checks Jae once again, and when everything is normal, she is sent back to her room. While Jae is playing with her kitten, she notices one girl who's getting special treatment from Vaughn. Every girl in the facility is wearing plain gray clothes, but this girl has a silk gown on. Jae also notices that the girl is wearing the family ring that her father gave her, and even though she wants to take it back, she can't do anything. Sometime later, Vaughn tells all the girls to line up in the corridor so he can choose a few of them to go into the city and work for them. He walks up to Jae and selects her. He hands her an obscene outfit and renames her as Eden. In the next scene, Eden and another girl are being transported in the back of a truck to an unknown location. When they get there, there are cameras everywhere, and the girls are tied up and forced into making pornographic videos. Since this is Eden's first time getting intimate with someone, she immediately starts crying due to pain. Later, when they get back to the facility, the other girl sees Eden in discomfort and comforts her, by saying that everything will be okay. The next day, Vaughn takes Eden to a customer's house and tells her to go inside and pleasure him. When the man opens the door, Vaughn takes some money from him and leaves Eden there. But when the man tries to make Eden get intimate with him, she gets into a brutal fight with him and chops off his private part. Then she tries to run away from the house, but Vaughn sees her escaping and catches up to her. While running, Eden manages to reach a group of women and asks them to help her, but Vaughn handcuffs her just in time and tells the women that he's a police officer, so there's no need to call law enforcement. Vaughn forcibly takes her back to the facility and makes her sit in a tub filled with ice as punishment. Bob confronts Vaughn about the situation and slaps him as a warning to make sure something like this never happens again, or else their whole trafficking ring will be caught. In the next scene, we see that a year has passed, and Eden has now become accustomed to her new life as a prostitute. She has befriended another girl named Priscilla, who is shocked to learn that Eden is 19 years old because she doesn't look her age at all. Then Priscilla warns Eden not to tell anyone about her age, or else they'll send her off to Dubai, where more torturous things will happen to her. During this conversation, Eden asks Priscilla why the girl in a blue robe gets special treatment. Priscilla tells her that her name is Svetlana and she's Russian. Since she's well educated, she helps Vaughn handle the financial accounts, and in return, Vaughn gives her nice things that he steals from other girls and doesn't make her do any nasty things. Eden is still angry about Svetlana having her family ring, so she starts plotting about how to get it back. One night, Eden and some other girls get lined up in front of an old man. The man chooses Eden to be his slave for the night, and we see that Eden has become surprisingly comfortable with this work. When she's going back to the warehouse, the heel of her shoe breaks off, and she hides it inside her private parts so she can use it to attack someone. Later that night, when everyone is asleep, Eden takes out the heel and attacks Svetlana, asking her to give the ring back because it belongs to her. This creates some chaos in the facility, and Vaughn and another man forcibly pull Eden off of Svetlana. Vaughn punishes Eden for what she is doing, but Eden pleads that she's smart and used to work at her father's shop, which is why she can help him handle the accounts better than Svetlana. Vaughn tells her to shut up and makes her swallow the ring as a punishment. The next day, Vaughn takes Eden and two other girls to a college frat party. He takes half the payment from one of the boys and leaves the girls to get to work. After their work is done, Vaughn demands the rest of the payment from the boys, but they refuse to pay him. At this point, he asks Eden to come with him and proceeds to beat up the frat boys until they pay the remaining amount. He hands the cash over to Eden and asks her to count it, and when she confirms that it is the full payment, they decide to leave the frat boys alone. However, when they turn around, they notice that the other two girls have already escaped from the party. Vaughn takes Eden with him on a hunt for the two girls because he can't let them escape like this. As they're driving around the block, Eden notices both of them inside a shop and reports it to Vaughn immediately, after which he captures them and brings them back to the truck. After all this, Eden gains Vaughn's trust and starts replacing Svetlana as his trustee. That night, when Eden goes to the washroom, she retrieves her parents' ring from the toilet and puts it back on. The next day, when all the girls are lined up to be sent off to work, Vaughn doesn't choose Eden anymore. Instead, he takes her to his house and tells her to clean the place. While cleaning a house, Eden finds a photo of Vaughn with the firefighter man who is responsible for luring her into this place. After returning to the facility, Vaughn takes Eden to his office where Svetlana is already waiting. He fires Svetlana and tells her to leave before telling Eden how to answer phone calls and deal with customers. Eden asks him what to say if a customer asks for their price, but Vaughn tells her that if someone asks for the price, then she should hang up because it's always a police officer. The next day, Vaughn and Eden take one of the girls to a customer's house. After dropping her off, they go to Vaughn's drug supplier, who gives them a powerful injection. Vaughn tries the new injection on Eden, and it immediately makes her high. After some time, Vaughn teaches Eden how to drive and tells her about how powerful Bob is. While the two of them are in the car, Eden tries to impress him by getting intimate with him. However, he pushes her away and tells her to stay away from him. A few months later, we see that Bob has now been promoted to chief and is leading a seminar on trafficking. After this big speech, a detective comes up to him and questions him about a case that includes a dead woman's body in this area. It turns out that the detective is talking about the same case where Bob had previously murdered two other men in cold blood at the beginning of the movie. The detective asks Bob if he investigated that case because a GPS tracker showed his car at the exact location where the 3 dead bodies were found. Hearing this, Bob gets nervous but denies knowing anything about that case. Later that night, Eden is on duty in the office when she receives a phone call from a customer. The customer asks about the price of the girls, and even though Eden knows that it's a police officer, she tells him the price because she wants the whole operation to be shut down. The next day, Vaughn and Eden drop off some girls at the customers' houses and then meet Bob at a nearby lake to dispose of some bodies. It turns out that these bodies are of girls who get sick while getting intimate with several men, so the owners of the facility inject them with deadly substances to kill them. Bob, Vaughn, and Eden get on a boat to throw the bodies into the lake while Bob enjoys his time fishing. He starts telling Eden about how Vaughn is a failure and a drug addict who can't do anything by himself, which is why he hires women to help him. This makes Vaughn very angry, so he suddenly betrays Bob and brutally kills him on the boat. Eden feels disgusted to see this murder, so she asks Vaughn why he did it. He tells her that some police officers have started asking about the murder of an unknown woman and deputy, so he received orders from above to murder Bob before he says anything that exposes the operation. Later, Eden and Vaughn go to the house of a man named Mario, who assists the whole operation. When Eden meets him, she notices a tattoo on his arm and instantly recognizes him as the man who transported her to the warehouse in the trunk of his car. She makes an excuse to go to the bathroom, and Mario tells her where it is. But as she's walking through the corridor, she finds a room full of baby beds. Then she hears some noise coming from another room. When she was inside, she finds her friend Priscilla there, who mysteriously disappeared from the facility. It turns out that Priscilla was taken away because she's pregnant and is living here completely ignorant of the fact that her baby will be sold once she gives birth. Eden tells Priscilla about her plan to expose this operation and escape and promises to take her along whenever the time comes. On the way back to the warehouse, Vaughn notices in Eden's eyes that she must have seen something odd at Mario's house because she's withdrawn. He asks her what she saw, and she admits to seeing the room full of baby beds. Vaughn starts doubting Eden's loyalty, so he forces her out of the car and asks her to shoot one of the girls to prove her loyalty. She takes the gun, and just as she's about to shoot, he stops and embraces her before telling her that he fully trusts her, so she doesn't need to do anything. When they resume their journey, Vaughn suddenly gets a phone call informing him that one of the bodyguards has flipped on the operation and that they must evacuate immediately. Eden starts packing the girls for the move, and everyone else at the facility starts burning everything, so the police don't find any proof here. Vaughn takes Eden back to his house and tells her that they're moving to Dubai or else the police will find them. He gives her some passports to choose from and goes to the bathroom. Eden realizes that this is her last chance to escape, so she sprays Vaughn's meth pipe with poisonous spray. When he comes back and inhales from the pipe, he starts coughing and dies immediately. Eden uses this opportunity to cut off the tracking bracelet on her ankle, steals some drugs and money from Vaughn's house, and drives off to Mario's house. When she gets there, she tries to pay him some money in exchange for Priscilla's freedom, but Mario refuses and admits that he remembers her, so he agrees to let her meet her friend one last time. When Mario turns around, Eden uses the opportunity to inject Mario with highly lethal drugs which kill him instantly. Then, she runs to Priscilla's room and discovers that she has already given birth. Priscilla refuses to go anywhere without her baby, but Eden tells her that her baby is already sold by now. In the final scene of the movie, Eden and Priscilla escape the house in Vaughn's car. While she's driving, Eden sees a phone booth and calls her mother. When she hears her mother's voice for the first time in a year, she starts crying, and the movie ends. The moral of the story is to keep fighting against any injustices that you might face. Even if something feels impossible to escape from, you can be as brave as Eden and get yourself out of it.